From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Hello and a warm welcome to News Hour tonight. I'm Zainab Bala. The headlines. ISWAP claims responsibility of attack on police station in Kogi State. Bandits abduct mother, daughter on humanitarian service, demand 100 million naira ransom. Stomach infrastructure, the evolution of a political strategy. Macron elected for second term as French president. Hello and a warm welcome. Now, Islamic State in West African province, ISWAP, has claimed responsibility for the attack on a police station in Adavi, Okene local government area of Kogi State. In a report, the Voice of America said ISWAP released a statement claiming responsibility for the attack. Police Public Relations Officer in Kogi, William Aya, said the attackers who struck from the opposite direction shot sporadically. He said while the command lost 3 of its officers during the gun duel, the hoodlums fled with gunshot wounds as they could not get access to the station. Aya said the State Commissioner of Police, CP Edward Egbuka, deployed a team of tactical operatives in the area to restore normalcy. The attack on Kogi police station happened 48 hours after President Muhammadu Buhari charged security agencies to be tougher on groups behind the attacks across the country. ISWAP had also claimed responsibility for a bomb attack which killed Taraba residents last week. In other news, bandits have abducted a mother, her daughter, and a commercial driver, conveying them to Kaduna after humanitarian service at Mariri community in Lere local government area of the state. Daily Trust gathered that engineer Amatu Abarshi and her daughter, who were traveling in a chartered vehicle, were said to have been kidnapped near Kaswa Magani. Sources from Mariri told our reporter that as part of her Barkin Dorahama initiative, the engineer, who often distributes household items to the less privileged, had arrived at Mariri around 3 p.m. on Friday. It was gathered that she had distributed clothes and other basic items to orphans ahead of the Eid al-Fitr celebration. A family friend told our reporter that the bandits have made contact and demanded 100 million naira for the release of engineer Amatu and her daughter. Now, residents of Adagba community in Yaba ward of Abaji Area Council fled their homes after bandits went on rampage, killing a 23-year-old Noura Maigeda and stole 36 motorcycles in the area. The bandits were said to have abducted 7 residents of the community that were identified as Aisha Lawal, Mustafa Lawal, Ali Pachi, Idris Bala, and Jamil Yahya. Daily Trust reports that the attack is coming barely a week after the bandits invaded the community and abducted a provision seller, Chinedu Arinze, in which they carted away foodstuffs and some provisions. Adagba community, which shares a boundary with neighboring Kakbako in Niger State through River Gurara, is about 12 kilometers from Abaji Area Council headquarters of the FCT. The Madaki of Adagba, Adamu Wambai, who spoke with our reporter, said the entire community were terrified due to the sporadic gunshot by the bandits. He said some of his subjects were forced to scamper for safety, even as he said he managed to escape alongside with his 2 children through the river Gurara. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday described the death of tens of Nigerians on Friday night in the explosion of an illegal refinery in Imo State as a catastrophe and a national disaster. According to a statement signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari described the incident as saying responsibility for the loss of lives and property must squarely lie with the sponsors of the illegal refinery, who must all be caught and made to face justice. He consequently directed the nation's armed forces, security and intelligence agencies to intensify the clampdown on illegal refineries. No fewer than 100 people were killed on Friday night at around 8 p.m. after an illegal refinery caught fire at Abaizi community in the Ohani Egbema local government area of Imo State. Also, 6 vehicles were razed during the incident, which threw the community into mourning. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA has foiled attempts by Brazil-based drug cartels to smuggle substantial quantities of cocaine into Nigeria through the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, and Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. They were said to have concealed the Class A illicit substance in tea bags.
NDLEA Director of Media Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, in a statement issued on Sunday, said at least 4 traffickers involved in the attempts to import and export illicit drugs through the country in the last week are now in the custody of the agency. According to him, one of them is 33-year-old Pascal Ekene Okolo, an indigene of Ihe in Ogu local government area of Enugu State, who claimed to be into wine business in Brazil, but is arrested with traveling bag containing different medicine tea bags, which were used to conceal 4.1 kilograms of cocaine on April 17th. Similarly, Canada-based Nigerian Anigo Christian Godspower was intercepted at the de-arrival of the Earl of MMIA Ikeja during an inward clearance of passengers on Qatar Airways from Sao Paulo via Doha to Lagos. 2 blocks of cocaine with a total weight of 2.10 kilograms were discovered. The bid by another cartel to export 950 grams of heroin concealed in the soles of ladies' footwear through the MMIA cargo shed was equally foiled by anti-narcotic officers who have so far arrested 2 suspects linked to the crime. Those arrested between 16 and 17 in connection with an attempt to export the drug to Monrovia, Liberia, included Idokoja Solomon Chukura and Patrick John Tochukwu. Babafemi also said that the NDLEA operatives in raids in Kano, Kaduna, Benue, and Akwa Ibom State have seized not less than 88,734 doses of tramadol, pentazocine, diazepam, and Sinol. In Kano, Aliu Usman, 28, was arrested at railway area of the state capital with 47,000 capsules of tramadol, 2,000 capsules of pentazocine injection on Tuesday, April 19th, while Isaminu Usman, 28, was nabbed with 24,710 tramadol tablets at Gadar Tamburawa area of Kano 2 days earlier. In Benue, another dealer, Emeka Eze, was arrested at an NDLEA checkpoint at Adikbu, Kwande local government area of the state, with 10,000 tramadol capsules and 900 tablets of Sinol, while in Kaduna State, the duo of Raphael Daniel and David Musa were arrested at Mando Park, Kaduna, with 1 kilogram of cocaine on Thursday, April 21st. In Akwa Ibom State, NDLEA operative arrested 2 female drug dealers, Eno Obong Edet, 36, and Osana Esema Opom, 28, with various quantities of Refnol, diazepam, tramadol, and cannabis, while a suspected fake security agent was arrested on Saturday, April 23rd in Abuja, while moving 23.8 kilogram cannabis from Lagos to Maiduguri, Borno State.
Now, the series of attacks in Nigerian communities, particularly in Imo and Kaduna states, is a source of great concern to citizens. People are particularly grieved by viciousness with which innocent Nigerians are maimed and killed by criminal elements operating under different labels. In this report, Kende Modu looks at the ongoing debate over who is responsible and what must be done to curb these vicious attacks.
In the northwest and north central, they go under the amorphous title bandits, and since they have now been designated terrorists. In the southeast, they are addressed by the even more ambiguous title unknown gunmen. In other parts of the country, they are either insurgents, kidnappers, or just plain criminals. But who are they and who sent them? Ever since government threatened to name their sponsors and failed to do so, some Nigerians have suggested that their sponsors may be in government circles. But Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, whose state is caught in the throes of constant conflict, thinks this is absurd.
How can anybody even think of a government sponsoring banditry in a country that they are in charge? If that is correct, assuming they're not conceding to you, how many states governed by opposition parties are under the kind of attack that we get from Kaduna every day, that we get from Imo State every day, that we get from Ebonyi State. So if we are the ones, why are we attacking our own states?
So what can be done to deplete the ranks of these threats to society? State governors believe state policing may be the way out. Others are not so sure.
Now, a state governor will sit in their office with the state INEC commissioners and write the result and get it announced without any shame. They're not helping the democracy. So now everybody will be troubled if they show such kind of indiscipline and immaturity. What would they do with police power if it's in their hand?
Rather than state police, how about local government police?
If you go to Anambra State, for instance, we have 21 local governments, then each of them will have their own local government police. In America, we have city police. City, not even state. City police. We have county police. And then there are other smaller places. Even university has its own police.
The truth is, as long as insecurity pervades in the land, there will be no end to this kind of debate. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The plan by the power producing company of Nigeria to charge consumers of electricity on a daily basis has elicited reactions from Nigerians. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal spoke to a cross-section of Nigerians in Abuja.
A cross-section of people aired their views, saying that the policy will go down well with them if electricity company provides stable and uninterrupted power supply.
It's not a good idea because some people are salary earners. Sometimes they get money monthly. If you say by every day, they may not be able to pay it. So you should still leave it by every month. It's not good because the advice I have for them is just for them to try and leave it monthly, so that salary earners will be able to be paying. Because if you leave it daily, it's only month end they'll be able to pay.
I'm a salary earner. If by the time they are collecting salary, they are collecting NEPA bill every day, then once I get my salary, before the month ends, then how am I going to pay? Because they are not going to pay my salary before the month ends. If I pay it daily and a steady power supply, I think I'm good with it.
Some respondents, on the other hand, lamented that it should not be a welcome idea, especially salary earners who get paid at the end of the month.
I think it's okay, but my own belief is that Nigeria of yesterday is not the Nigeria of today. I hope if there is going to be the electricity, they are going to give us lights, so we know what we are paying for.
Some say the policy will be more effective if government improves on efficiency. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Stomach infrastructure resonates more with Nigeria's pauperized electorate than physical dividends during general and off-season elections. In this report, Trust TV Shafiu Suleiman examines the rise of a political strategy used by the elite to manipulate the electorate to vote in a certain direction.
It was first introduced into the Nigeria's political lexicon during the Ekiti state governorship election in 2014. Stomach infrastructure has, however, been deployed in different forms as far back as the 1980s, when President Ibrahim Babangida introduced the new breed into Nigeria's electoral space. Simply put, it is a campaign strategy deployed by politicians to induce the voting population to tilt towards a direction favoring a political candidate by exploiting their vulnerability to endemic poverty. At first, stomach infrastructure may sound funny. It has, however, proven to be an effective strategy over the years and has helped to secure many electoral mandates. A case in point was the Ekiti 2015 governorship election, where the Ayodele Faishe defeated an incumbent governor, courtesy of stomach infrastructure in form of foodstuffs, live chickens, utilities, amongst others.
The stomach infrastructure is not just that people are demoralized, that people are wicked people. It's better that the elite politics is caused in a manner that people have lost control. There's no entry point for accountability, and therefore the people, just kind of leave it for God. Then just take what comes by you, and what comes to us is loaf of bread, a small section of the gari, and 2,000 to election. What can we do?
I think as a society, we've lost value. We've lost value totally, whereby today if you don't have money, you don't have a voice or you don't have a say.
While trillions of naira was expended by the current administration to close the huge physical infrastructure gap, it has been unable to halt the rise in poverty in the country. This has given room for the weaponization of poverty by the political class, giving rise to stomach infrastructure.
When voters are not being, like they do not get their commensurate amenities, life is hard for them. They are more likely to sell their votes. The issue of vote buying is a problem in Nigeria that it has stayed for so long, and we are working hard at stopping it.
And given the level of poverty that is so endemic, in this country, and the fact that the people are completely, disconnected from the entire governance system.
Voters now openly trade their franchise for a pot of porridge without regards to its long-term implication on good governance. The first thought of the electorate is to survive the excruciating hardship which has become the hallmark of the sixth largest oil-producing nation, considered the largest economy in Africa.
But did you have even But did you have Come ask me whether I will sell my vote. When I'm not selling, what am I doing?
Sure, anybody I want to buy, please, I will sell.
Why would you want to sell your vote?
Because the vote is not counting.
If we vote with the no catch, it will go cut our neck again.
In a scenario where you choose to sell your vote, how will you complain of the incoming government? Of course, it's unthinkable.
Awareness is a way to help stop vote buying. When people are aware of the fact that they have the right to vote, their vote is their power, maybe they will stop vote selling.
The exploitation of the stomach infrastructure fault line by desperate politicians may have come to stay if deliberate measures are not put in place to check the rising poverty among citizens. There will be a negative impact on the leadership recruitment process, resulting in turn in bad governance. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up, promoting African values through culture. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening to them continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not what they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempts were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children, protect them, from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust Television. Here are our top stories. ISWAP claims responsibility on attack and police station in Kogi State. Bandits abduct mother, daughter on humanitarian service in Kaduna, demand 100 million naira ransom. Still ahead, stakeholders have been urged to contribute their own quota to the upliftment of the education sector and curbing the menace of the lingering strike action in tertiary institutions across the country. The call was made by the Vice-Chancellor, University of Abuja, Professor Abdul Rashid Na'Allah, in an interview with Trust TV.
Vice-Chancellor Abdul Rashid Na'Allah further called on stakeholders in the education sector to put all hands on deck to enable the sector to improve in its activities. Professor Abdul Rashid, who added that it is not just the sole responsibility of just the ASU and the government, but also said everyone has a role to play in curbing the menace of strike in our tertiary institutions.
Well, it's not just ASU, it's just any strike action, whether ASU or SANU or NASU or any organization that feels that it has to embark on a strike. It's just interesting that we have a different color to Nigeria. Strike actions all over the world and legal actions. There are ways that unions express their views and let their employers know their displeasure, especially when they negotiate and that negotiation falls flat.
Abdul Rashid said the collaborative effort of stakeholders and government will pave way for Nigerians to be more patriotic.
Do some mother warning strike for hours, not even the whole day, right? Occasionally some days. But sometimes it may graduate into grievance in which panels are set up, grievance panels, that goes from one level to the other. And sometimes it goes to the court of law. Okay, some countries like Nigeria has industrial courts, and the court of law make pronouncement, and such pronouncement, becomes binding one way or the other. Yes, because it is the court of first instance, the other side can go to appeal, and it continues. There are also arbitration usually, in which the two sides, the employer and the employee, recognize an arbitration, and arbitration come in to make peace and make a decision which is binding.
Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
National Youth Service Corps Dance and Drama CDS have held their 2022 Festival of Culture in a bid to remind youth across Nigeria on the importance of culture. The 2022 Festival of Culture had in attendance several dignitaries from across the country. Festival of Culture is an annual celebration by the National Youth Service Corps members for exchange between artistic and cultural expressions, contributing to the promotion of African values of peace and non-violence. Dances from different ethnic groups were performed by these corps members to remind them of the African culture. Drama was also performed to prompt them on the need to live in peace with one another, as it is a fundamental key to a developed society.
Very beautiful performance.
This year's Festival of Culture aims to harness potentials of the youth towards a sustainable national development. An interesting dance there. Now, operatives of the Nigeria Customs Service have been urged to be more proactive in discharging their duties. Customs Controller, Apapa Command Controller Malanta Yusuf directed the advice to newly promoted officers of the command. Decorating the officers with their new ranks, Controller Yusuf explained that the promotion exercise is purely based on merit, which was why it was significant.
One of the most important things about the work is innovation, creativity, trying to do what you're going to do at the right time and the right place. We are all sure that 2021 has been a glorious year with a lot of awards from the CGC and the management team. And therefore, what are we going to do to sustain that tempo or even supersede it? And that is why we sat down with, okay, the best thing is, what kind of creativity are we going to deploy? We deploy so many creativity which I cannot mention because of our recalcitrant traders, you understand? And make sure that facilitation of trade and ensure cargo throughput in the port is paramount.
Personnel from other paramilitary and security agencies advised the beneficiaries to justify the confidence reposed in them by going the extra mile while carrying out their duties.
As a DSC, and you are forgiven. If you do it as superintendent, you may not be forgiven. What you do as a CS, if you try it, and you are forgiven. If you try it as an AC, you may not be forgiven. So, I want every one of us to be mindful of this, that this is the gift from God Almighty, and you need to keep it. And like I said, the best way by which you will keep it is to remain law-abiding, loyal to the service, and loyal to your seniors.
Right from your parents to your immediate family values, that if you want to try anything corruption, you first think of the implication and the consequences on your family. Some of us are here with our families. Think of it. If you are not here, and not for any other thing, but because you dabbled into what your family will not even want to be identified with you.
Elsewhere, Nigerians have been advised to improve on their maintenance culture to enable them reap the benefit of corporate social responsibility. The Revival of Islamic Heritage Society made the call at the flag-off and foundation laying of a hospital by the Kuwait government at the Gwalaga Jamaat Mosque in Bauchi. Adamu Imam was there.
The representative of the group, Shekrullah Juma, who initiated the construction of hospital at the Gwalaga Jamaat premises, says the project will bring 21st century healthcare to people within and outside the area, especially the less privileged, and call for sustainability.
Our community outreach is to maintain, properly maintain this big project. It is going to be beneficial to every one of us here in Bauchi.
Malam Misbahu Abdulkadir is a state representative. He assured of not only maintenance of the structure, but adequate security as well to ensure maximum benefit.
So to maintain this building so that they will increase the number of projects in this state, inshallah. And then it will help to treat our application, that is Muslim and non-Muslim, inshallah, to benefit from it in and outside the state.
In his remark, the state governor, represented at the occasion by the Chief of Staff, Dr. Aminu Gamawa, says government is ready to support any initiative that will attract development to the state activities.
particularly activities that promote development, social cohesion, and instill values among the people of the state. And I'm happy to say that Bauchi State is one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria, and we cannot explain this peace without the role of our Islamic scholars and our religious leaders, because of the message they preach is a message of peace, and the values they promote are values of peace and peaceful coexistence. Similarly,
Chief Imam of Galaga Jumaat Mosque Malam Ibrahim Idris pray for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians at all times. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The Federation of Muslim Women Association of Nigeria, Form 1, Gombe State Chapter, has embarked on sensitization campaign against abortion in the state. The Form 1 coordinator on maternal, newborn, child health, Yelwa Abdullahi, said the organization is worried over the high rate of abortion in Gombe State. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
According to the Form 1 maternal, newborn, child health coordinator, Yelwa Abdullahi, the anti-abortion campaign was triggered by data released by Safe Advocacy Foundation indicating that mortality rate due to abortion is 17% in Gombe State.
So, abortion is becoming rampant, not within single mothers, but all among married women. I have already stated that a breastfeeding mother, the child is just a month or two, and she has taken in. In those days, normally, we go home for going gida is another method of family planning after from the interrupted coitus that I have already stated. So people are aborting a lot, especially single mothers and newly married couples, because there are so many cases being reported that Anyaore Banason chicken, it should be terminated, and the girl or the girl, she's refusing. So the husband said, now, I will divorce you if you are not going for abortion. Why should she abort? Religiously is wrong. None of the religion preach after taking in you should go and abort it. It is wrong, because among all other vices on earth, Allah is not encouraging killing a live person.
Foreman said it has engaged community and religious leaders to persuade couples to shun abortion.
I've just come back from one of our Islamia. We reached 20 persons there with a community leader, including a religious leader. And that man, the religious leader, he has now promised us that anytime during the day or even at night, let us just call upon him. He will come out. And from today, he will start saying that it is wrong. Abortion is happening, we should be informed.
Abdullahi urged parents to enlighten their daughters to avoid unwanted pregnancies that may lead to abortion, which could be life-threatening, especially when the procedure is done by quacks. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Tributes and condolences continue to pour in following the passing of the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III. News of the top Yoruba traditional ruler's demise broke on Saturday morning, hours after he died at the Afe Babalola University Teaching Hospital in Ado-Ekiti. He was 83 years old. A cross-section of Nigerians paid tribute to the late monarch.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in a statement, said the Alaafin's reign had covered major historic transitions in the country and witnessed transformations in his domain. In a statement signed by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, President Buhari said the Alaafin's reign was significant in many ways. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo said the late Alaafin was a symbol of Nigeria's epic struggle for self-discovery and self-actualization. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde described the royal father as the best man standing in the rank of most eminent royal fathers with long years of leadership and a golden king. Governor Makinde spoke via a statement signed by his spokesperson Taiwo Adisa. The coalition of North Central governors, through its leader, Governor Abubakar Bello of Niger State, described the death as sorrowful considering the Alaafin's immense contributions to not only the Yoruba land but the nation in general. He observed that the late monarch, who ruled for 52 years, left a vacuum which will take God to fill up. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom described the late Oyo monarch as a brave and courageous king who did everything possible to preserve the culture and tradition of his people. In a statement signed by his spokesperson, Nathaniel Ikyu, he noted that Oba Adeyemi's reign witnessed peace and unity of the kingdom, which created the enabling environment for growth and development, not just in Oyo State, but also in Nigeria. On his part, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike said it is with a deep sense of shock and sadness that he learned of the passing of His Royal Majesty, Alafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III. He said the late Oba Lamidi Adeyemi will always be remembered for the invaluable role he played in helping build bridges and encouraging peace in the country. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun described the monarch's death as tragic and occurred when least expected. Governor Abiodun noted that the Alafin's death will create a huge vacuum in the entire Yoruba land, while his sagacious leadership and royal council will be sorely missed.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust Television. I'll see you on the other side of the break.
Plastic waste is a major environmental challenge in Nigeria.
This has been the problem for most environmentalists, and not only in Nigeria but all over the world.
Nigeria has recorded about 5,000 incidents of oil spill. All these incidents, were they discovered by your agency?
We detect some, the host communities detect quite a lot. The oil companies themselves, through their surveillance agents, discover some. Because we have to put a lot of efforts on our part to make sure that we synchronize activities with that of the oil companies, working towards preventing a spill.
My name is Tope Fashua. We will be speaking economics, business, finance, sociology, and politics, all with an aim to contribute our best quota to the upliftment of our fatherland, Nigeria. So what do you think is wrong with our fiscal policy in Nigeria?
A lot of things are wrong. First, I think we have issues with our budgetary plan, which serves as the foundation of the fiscal policy. I mean, federal government's budgetary plan.
Is it true that decentralized banking seeks to eliminate central banking, and how?
Well, in theory, decentralized finance is actually designed to have the potential to eliminate central banking, but I would say decentralized finance is or does not currently have the potential to eliminate central banking.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Blacksmithing is one of the oldest occupations in Africa. It has for centuries provided humanity with skills and ideas on how to explore the environment. It is found across all tribes in Nigeria and mostly practiced by men, and the skills transferred from generation to generation. Now, there's a site in Garki village, Abuja, where a family of blacksmithers thrive. Look.
My name is Yusuf Adamu. I'm 8 years old. This is my 4th year working here. I make hair pattern tools and axe metals. I made this myself. Our parents pass on the knowledge of blacksmithing to us. We also teach our younger ones. I've spent 3 years learning in the job. We sell each hair pattern tool for 30 naira, 2 gifts for 50 naira. We keep the money in a piggy. When we needed to buy anything, my mother gives us a part of it. My name is Ado, head of blacksmith at Garki Village, Abuja Municipal Area Council. I inherited smithing from my great-grandparents. He was the chief of Garki Village Smithers. Right now, I and my family, including my brothers, are engaged in the business. I have over 30 trainees and they all go to school. We don't have any other place other than Garki village. We are residents. There is no blacksmith spot as old as this one. Abuja City grew to meet us here, and we are still into this business. We make cutting blades of the plow, hoes, sickle, knives, and axe. We don't go to the market to sell. People came to buy on wholesale. We eat, drink, and clothe ourselves and our children from this. We also pay their school fees. People should hold on to vocational skills. These children are our children. They are here because they grew up to see their parents doing this job. They use the money realized from what they sell to pay their school fees. I make corrections on any tool they make badly.
Well, there you go. Now, Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has filed a lawsuit against President Muhammadu Buhari over the failure to unblock the phone lines of over 72 million telecommunication subscribers barred from making calls on their SIMs. The suit followed the recent directive by the federal government to telecommunication companies to block outgoing calls on all unlinked lines as the deadline for the verification expired on March 31st. Following the directive, over 72 million subscribers have now been barred from making calls. SERAP is also seeking an order of perpetual injunctions restraining President Muhammadu Buhari and the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, from unlawfully directing telecommunication companies to block outgoing calls on all unlinked lines without due process and in violation of Nigeria's human rights. In the suit, SERAP is arguing that directing and compelling the federal government to unblock the phone lines unlawfully barred would be entirely consistent with the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended and the country's international obligations to respect, protect, and promote socio-economic rights. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund have disclosed plans to fast-track the implementation of the G20 debt relief scheme. The announcement was made at the ongoing 2022 spring meetings of the World Bank in Washington, D.C. In November 2022, the G20 reached an agreement on a common framework to deal with the insolvency and liquidity problems in DSSI-eligible countries, including Nigeria. At a briefing attended by IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, World Bank President David Malpass said the institutions will help debtor nations achieve development and macroeconomic stability. This includes strengthening institutions and the capacity needed to improve debt transparency, developing mechanisms to resolve private sector debt overhangs, and delivering effective financial sector supervision. Others are improving access to long-term finance and enabling financial deepening that reduces the cost of investments and allocates risks. And on the foreign scene, Emmanuel Macron has been elected to a second term as French president on Sunday evening with 58.2% of the vote, according to an estimate from the IPSOS Polling Institute. His far-right challenger, Marine Le Pen, won 41.8% of the vote in an election that saw the country's highest abstention rate in 50 years. Voter turnout was lower than the last time Macron and Le Pen faced each other in the second round just 5 years ago, as they present two significantly different visions for France's future. Macron is expected to speak on the Champ de Mars in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Ukraine on Sunday called for a truce in battered Mariupol for Orthodox Easter, celebrated in both Russia and Ukraine as fighting rages throughout the east and south of the country. Ukraine President Advisor Mikhailo Podolyak said on Twitter that Kiev, Moscow is continuously attacking the Azovstal steel plant in besieged Mariupol, where Ukrainian forces remain holed up, and asked for several talks with Russia to free its trapped military. He called on Moscow to announce a real Easter truce in Mariupol and create an immediate humanitarian corridor for civilians. Russian President Vladimir Putin this week ordered his forces not to attack the plant, but to lay siege to it instead. Lebanese troops have recovered at least 6 corpses after a boat carrying dozens of migrants capsized in the eastern Mediterranean on Saturday. Transport Minister Ali Hami says 45 people were rescued and the corpse of 1 child retrieved from the boat, which sank near the Lebanese city of Tripoli. He said around 60 people were on the vessel carrying illegal migrants out of Lebanon, adding that search operations are still on. The Lebanese Red Cross said it had sent 10 ambulances to Tripoli. Lebanon, a country of around 6 million people, is grappling with an unprecedented financial crisis that the World Bank says is on a scale usually associated with wars. And in sports, Andrei Rublev denied Novak Djokovic a first title of the season by beating the world #1 in the final of his home tournament at the Serbia Open. Faced with a partisan home crowd, world #8 Rublev dominated the deciding set to win 6-2 to 6-7 4-7 to 6-0. The win gives Russian Loblev a third title of the year and a first victory over Djokovic in his career. Djokovic had only won 2 matches in 2022 going into the clay court, even in Belgrade, but showed his trademark trait to force a decider for the 4th match in a row. However, Loblev crucially saved 2 break points in the opening game of the 3rd set, and from there dominated as his opponent struggled physically. Djokovic's season started with his deportation from Australia in January, which meant he missed the Australian Open. Well, before we go, here is a kicker. Tunisia, where recycling is almost non-existent, one of the country's few recycling companies sorted through mountains of plastic and cut into the chips for industrial use. Look.
This is one of Tunisia's few existing recycling companies. It transforms mountains of plastic into industrial chips or granules. The company, called African Recycling, started in 2009. Today, it employs around 60 people, mostly women whose husbands are unemployed. Indirectly, the company gives an income to more than 200 people. Its owner, Tariq Masmoudi, has big ideas for the future.
This waste is an added value and we can create many jobs. We have a great lack of plastic waste in Tunisia. Instead of importing this waste from other countries and losing foreign currency, we can use it in Tunisia.
The vast majority of waste in Tunisia is buried at the cost of the taxpayer.
The state is paying about 150 to 200 dinars per ton to dump this waste in landfills and to transport it. In Europe and in other countries, they see this waste as wealth. Many financiers in Europe have invested in waste to make money.
Now, landfill sites across the country are almost filled up. In the central city of Aghareb, a site closed down a few months ago after residents complained about toxic fumes. But authorities had no choice than to reopen it after the neighbouring city of Sfax was buried under rubbish. The decision triggered violent protests mid-November, where 1 person died. Wali Madassi, an expert on the topic, explains the challenge of good waste management.
If you want to have solutions, you have to have a fixed strategy without being able to change it. And that's what we had in Tunisia. We've had many changes, and each time we come back to the starting point.
There is a further problem. Only a quarter of Tunisians pay housing tax, including a tax on waste.
If people don't pay to ensure the cost of treatment each time, we will never have a project. And this is the problem we have in Tunisia.
Authorities have opted for a hybrid method of sorting, compacting, and composting waste to tackle the issue. But that will only start in 2 years. Until then, the only recourse for many remains illegal dumping.
Well, there you go, and that's it on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Have a good night.